You are about to hear 50 ridiculous rules that turn Christmas cheer into a legal risk. Picture this. One quick phone call on New Year's Eve could instantly cost you $1,000. If that sounds fake, it is not. Over the next 30 minutes, we will unpack 50 of the dumbest real-world rules about Christmas and New Year's everything. From strict noise limits on carols, to fines for a third Christmas tree, to bans on handing out candy canes in public. These are not myths. They are written into city ordinances, HOA bylaws, and airport policies that real people get hit with every year. These rules are not dusty history. They are active, enforceable, and in many cases quietly buried in municipal codes, homeowners association documents, or company rulebooks. Some target how bright your lights can be, some insist on clear bags for your gifts at a football game, and some turn your leftover gravy into a liquid security threat. The details vary by city and state, but the stupidity is universally recognizable. We are going to give you the playbook, the 50 absurd rules, story by story, so you know what to look out for this December. The exact citations will depend on your city and state, but the patterns are everywhere. This is your holiday survival guide, starting now. Number 1. The 4-ounce snow globe security trap. If you carry a snow globe onto a plane, the TSA is required to treat any liquid inside it as a restricted liquid, regardless of its consistency. This means if the base of the globe holds more than 3.4 ounces of water, it gets tossed into the bin. Even if you declare it is sealed and full of glitter, the rule says it is a potential threat to national security. The bottom line is, you can fly with a 34-ounce water bottle empty, but a 5-ounce snow globe full of festive cheer is a felony waiting to happen. Number 2. The forbidden gift wrap policy. The TSA explicitly recommends against wrapping gifts before flying, stating that if security needs to inspect the item, they will cut off the wrapping. Consider spending 3 hours perfectly folding the corners, only to have an agent slash the paper with a dull utility knife. The irony is, you can wrap your gifts right next to the baggage claim after passing security. Put simply, the government prefers you commit to the wrapping paper chaos after you have cleared the screening process. Number 3. The 12-minute family boarding window. Most major airlines have a tiny window, reportedly around 12 minutes, between general boarding and the door closing, to accommodate families with small children. Envision a parent with a screaming toddler and 3 carry-ons, racing to fit their child's car seat into the tiny space. If you miss the 12-minute window, the gate agent can deny your preferential boarding, forcing you to fight the last 30 people for overhead bin space. Or, less politely, the airline gives you a family pass but counts down the seconds until they can take it back. Number 4. The 2 holiday tree maximum rule. Many large urban condominiums have specific rules limiting the number of Christmas trees an individual unit can display to 2, usually 1 artificial and 1 natural. What if you are a collector of vintage tinsel trees? The HOA can fine you $200 for having a third 3-foot aluminum tree. The rule is nominally about fire safety, but it gives the board the power to police your specific holiday joy. The bottom line is your festive spirit stops at the board's 2-tree limit. Number 5. The mandatory 8-inch snow clearance. In various jurisdictions, like one major East Coast city, property owners are required to clear snow from their sidewalks within 8 hours of the end of a snowfall. Imagine being out of town visiting family for 3 days over Christmas. The city can ticket you $100 per day when your sidewalk hits 8 inches of uncleared white powder. The law is technically about pedestrian safety, but it gives your neighbors a legal right to report their absence. In plain English, the city expects your house to be 8 hours away from a snow shovel, even when you are 800 miles away. Number 6. The parking pass holiday amnesty limit. Some city governments offer a holiday amnesty for street parking violations, but only for certain minor offenses like expired meters, not for more serious ones like parking within 10 feet of a fire hydrant. Think of getting a $300 ticket on Christmas Eve because you thought the entire city was on holiday waiver. The amnesty is designed to make shoppers feel good, but it is a legal minefield for those who confuse charity with complete freedom. Or less politely, the city gives you a free pass on the small stuff so they can hit you harder with the big stuff. Number 7. The mandatory 10-day neighbor notification. Certain restrictive housing communities require residents to notify their direct neighbors at least 10 days in advance if they plan on hosting more than 10 guests for a holiday gathering. Let's say a last-minute Christmas dinner has 12 cousins suddenly show up. You could be facing a $150 fine for not sending out a memo 10 days prior. The rule is meant to control noise, but it forces you to legally manage your holiday spontaneity. Put simply, your cousin's 10-day advance notice is a legal requirement before they can eat your ham. Number 8. The 6-foot decoration height limit. Many HOA documents cap outdoor decorations at a maximum height of 6 feet, often borrowing the same measurement used for road signage. Suppose you buy a 7-foot Grinch inflatable and set it proudly in your front yard. On paper, the association can demand you deflate it, shrink it, or move it, or face a fine for violating the height rule. The bottom line is your festive spirit hits a hard ceiling at 6 feet. Number 9. The 3-day maximum for temporary lawn signs. In some cities, temporary lawn signs, including large holiday greetings or party directions, can only remain up for a maximum of 3 days before you risk a fine. Picture having a Merry Christmas, sign up for 4 days, and getting a $75 violation notice from the city's code enforcement. The stated goal is to prevent neighborhood clutter, but it makes any sign a bureaucratic burden. In other words, you have to clock your holiday cheer before the code enforcement does. Number 10. The mandatory 3-week teardown deadline. Many HOA covenants require all Christmas lights and decorations to be removed within 3 weeks of Christmas Day. Imagine you are busy and leave your lights up until the 22nd of January. You might face a $50 per day fine until everything is gone. The rule's intention is to return the neighborhood to its normal aesthetic, but it legally mandates when your holiday officially ends. The bottom line is, you get fined for procrastinating on your dismantling process. Number 11. The no religious signage during December rule. You cannot put up a sign that says Happy Hanukkah, but you can have 3 plastic reindeer. One Texas homeowner told reporters after a dispute with their HOA. The rule prohibits anything considered overtly religious on a lawn during December, but critics say it arbitrarily targets specific faiths while allowing secular Christmas decor. The resident reportedly had a $100 fine overturned in 2021 after arguing the definition was vague and the ban was selectively enforced against non-Christian displays. The payoff is that HOAs can police religion under the guise of aesthetic uniformity. Number 12. The 50-decibel Christmas music curfew. Many city ordinances, like in parts of California, impose a noise curfew where music cannot exceed 50 decibels after 10 p.m., which is about the volume of a quiet refrigerator. Assume your outdoor speaker is playing Jingle Bell Rock at 55 decibels at 10:30 p.m. A neighbor can call the police and get you a $300 citation. The law is technically 24/7, but it is most strictly enforced during noisy holiday parties and can be triggered by one complaint. In plain English, the city has a noise cop with a meter ready to shut down your holiday fun if the volume knob moves past 3. Number 13. The 2-color limit for holiday lights. Some HOA codes of conduct limit the number of colors allowed for outdoor Christmas lights to 2, excluding white, to maintain a classic aesthetic that one board member prefers. Imagine you want a rainbow display of 5 colors to cheer up the dark winter days. The board can demand you take down 3 of those colors or face a daily fine of $25. The rule is purely subjective, forcing residents to adhere to one person's idea of holiday taste and removing your right to expression. In other words, your Christmas cheer must conform to a 2-color palette approved by the Neighborhood Design Committee. Number 14. The mandatory 90-day no tinsel rule. A few hyper-strict HOAs prohibit the use of tinsel or metallic streamers for a 90-day period around the holidays, citing concerns about litter and potential damage to shared property if it blows away. Picture decorating your interior with tinsel, only to have your unit inspected from the outside and face a warning letter because strands were visible through a window. The rule is an overreach of authority, regulating what goes on inside your own home and invading your privacy. The bottom line is a little bit of sparkle on your window could spark a massive fine. Number 15. The public display of a nativity scene ban. Some city parks and public squares have explicit policies banning the public display of nativity scenes, citing separation of church and state or favoring secular holiday symbols like Santa. Consider a local church group wanting to place a small 4-foot creche in a city park. They could be legally denied 1 week before Christmas and face removal by city workers. The rule is meant to protect public space, but it often ends up prioritizing one set of beliefs over another, making religious freedom conditional. Put simply, even in the Christmas season, some cities draw a hard line on public religious expression. If that sounded wild, wait until you hear what happens with Christmas cookies. Number 16. The 6-person maximum for a public sledding hill. Many local park regulations limit the number of people who can be on a public sledding hill at any one time to 6 individuals, citing safety and congestion issues during peak holiday use. What if you show up with your family of 7? One person is legally told they have to wait on the sidelines. The rule is a bureaucratic response to crowd control, which forces families to split up just to enjoy the snow. The bottom line is you need to count heads before hitting the slopes or face one lonely person watching from the bottom. Number 17. The mandatory use of 100% recycled wrapping paper. In a few environmentally conscious counties, particularly those with aggressive recycling programs, there is an obscure ordinance encouraging or even mandating the use of only 100% recycled wrapping paper for all gifts. Imagine one resident receiving a warning letter after their trash collector noticed glittery, non-recyclable paper sticking out of the recycling bin. While the rule's intention is green, it puts the onus on the homeowner to police the type of paper used by everyone who gives them a gift. In plain English, the local government wants your holiday wrapping to be as environmentally correct as your sorting habits. Number 18. The ban on overly loud holiday sweaters in public buildings. Some public schools and government buildings have an unofficial or poorly defined dress code extension during December that bans overly distracting or loud holiday attire, including sweaters with flashing lights or loud bells. Let's say a teacher is told their motion-activated musical reindeer sweater is distracting students and must be covered or removed. The rule is subjective and targets one specific type of festive expression, making your holiday spirit subject to a judgment call. The bottom line is you might get sent home for being too Christmas-spirited in a government building. Number 19. The 3-piece limit on carry-on shopping bags. Many major commercial airlines impose a strict 3-item maximum on carry-on shopping bags bought at the airport after security, even if they fit under the seat, citing overhead bin capacity and boarding speed. Picture one traveler trying to board with 4 small bags, one for coffee, one for a book, one for a neck pillow, and one for a small toy, and being forced to consolidate them into one larger bag. The rule is a blanket enforcement of the one personal item rule, making the purchase of multiple small gifts a hassle. In other words, you have to play Tetris with your 4 holiday purchases before you can get to your seat. Number 20. The prohibition of carols after 8 p.m. In some residential areas, particularly where HOA curfews are strict, any form of organized outdoor singing or caroling is strictly prohibited after 8 p.m. to maintain the peace and quiet of the neighborhood. Envision a group of carolers being asked to stop singing Silent Night at 8:15 p.m. by a code enforcement officer due to a noise complaint. The rule is meant to protect one neighbor's right to silence, but it legally ends one of the most traditional holiday activities early. Or less politely, the holiday carolers have to punch out right after dinner, or face a fine. Number 21. The Christmas cookie minimum 2-inch diameter. If it is smaller than 2 inches, it is considered a choking hazard. One health inspector reportedly told a New Jersey baker during a 2020 inspection of commercially sold holiday goods. The rule, which allegedly applies to miniature baked goods sold during the holiday season, sets a minimum size to prevent consumers, especially children, from eating too quickly or choking on one tiny bite. A bakery reportedly had a $250 fine waived in court after demonstrating the cookie's density was too high to pose a significant hazard. The payoff is the government regulates your tiny festive baked goods. Number 22. The no simulated snow ban in city parks. Many large cities have regulations prohibiting the use of simulated snow, like artificial polymer flakes or foam in public parks, citing environmental damage and cleanup costs, especially around the holidays. Suppose one family gets a $75 citation for using 1 can of fake snow spray to decorate a small tree branch in a public park for a holiday photo shoot. The rule is a blanket ban meant to stop large-scale commercial use, but it sweeps up innocent family activities in its wake. In other words, City Hall does not trust you to clean up your 1 bag of fake snow. Number 23. The $4 fee for leaving a discarded Christmas tree. In several cities across the U.S., residents must pay a mandatory $4 fee per tree if they leave their discarded natural Christmas tree at the curb for collection, separate from regular trash. Picture one resident getting a $10 fine for not paying the $4 disposal fee, which is a 150% penalty. The fee is allegedly used to cover the costs of chipping the trees into mulch, but it makes the simple act of throwing away a tree complicated. The bottom line is, your Christmas tree is not free to die. It costs you $4 to dispose of its remains. Number 24. The ban on handing out candy canes in public areas. Some city regulations prohibit the distribution of food items, including individually wrapped candy canes, in public parks or city squares without a health permit, citing sanitation risks. Envision one person trying to hand out 25 candy canes to children in a park and being told by a park ranger to stop or face a $50 fine for illegal vending. The rule's intention is to prevent large-scale food distribution, but it criminalizes a small act of holiday generosity. Put simply, your 5-cent candy cane is technically illegal public vending. Number 25. The 10-day limit on wearing Santa hats after Christmas Day. Certain workplace and school dress codes extend holiday attire allowances only until January 4th, which is 10 days after Christmas, after which the attire is considered distracting. What if an office worker wears their Santa hat on January 5th and is told by their HR manager to remove it or be sent home without pay? The rule creates a bizarre legal timeline for your personal style, turning one day into a rule-breaking offense. The bottom line is your festive headwear has an expiration date decided by corporate policy. Number 26. The mandatory 30-minute waiting period for public ice rinks. Some public ice rinks, especially during the busy holiday season, enforce a rule that anyone entering the rink must wait a mandatory 30 minutes from the moment they put on their skates until they are allowed on the ice, citing insurance and safety. Imagine one child eager to skate being forced to sit on the cold bench for half an hour while the ice is empty and their friends are ready. The rule is a bureaucratic measure to stagger crowds, but it penalizes the most excited people. In plain English, the ice rink makes you wait 30 minutes to prove you are not too eager. Number 27. The prohibition of feeding reindeer statues on public property. Many local parks and town squares have explicit signage during the holidays that prohibits placing any food items near or on holiday statues of reindeer or other animals, citing pest control and damage to the decorations. Picture one grandparent getting a $25 warning from a park official for placing a small carrot near the base of a plastic reindeer for their grandchild. The rule is meant to prevent rats and squirrels, but it ignores the simple holiday tradition of leaving food for Santa's helpers. In other words, your gesture of goodwill is a code violation if it involves a carrot and a plastic reindeer. Number 28. The 55 decibel limit on New Year's Eve noisemakers. In many cities, with dense downtown areas, noise ordinances are strictly enforced on New Year's Eve, limiting noisemakers like horns or clappers to a maximum of 55 decibels, which is barely louder than normal conversation. Consider one person getting a $100 ticket for blowing a party horn too loudly at midnight in a public square. The rule is a bureaucratic attempt to manage the noise generated by tens of thousands of people. Or, less politely, the city wants you to ring in the new year quietly, or risk a fine that costs more than your celebration. Number 29. The requirement to compost pine needles within 48 hours. In some highly regulated residential zones, homeowners are required to collect and compost any fallen pine needles from their natural Christmas tree and dispose of them through designated green waste bins within 48 hours of them being noticed. Imagine one neighbor getting a $75 citation because a handful of needles had fallen onto the sidewalk and they had not yet been composted. The rule is a zero-tolerance approach to yard waste during the holidays. The bottom line is even a single pine needle can be a code violation if it is not in the right place by the deadline. Number 30. The $1 fee for every 3 feet of holiday light string. One bizarre city ordinance, allegedly created in 2006, imposed a $1 surcharge for every 3 feet of decorative holiday lights put up outside a home, citing excessive municipal power consumption during December. Think of one resident with 300 feet of lights having to pay a $100 annual fee just for the right to decorate. The rule is a legally questionable effort to discourage excessive energy use, but it literally taxes your Christmas spirit. In other words, you have to pay 33 cents per foot for your festive light display. Number 31. The requirement for a 24-hour gift receipt hold. Some chain stores quietly enforce a policy that a gift receipt cannot be used for an exchange or return until 24 hours after the recipient has been given the item. At the customer service counter, a small printed notice near the registers explains that gift receipt transactions available 24 hours after issue. But most shoppers never see it. Imagine a person walking up to the counter on December 26th with an unwanted sweater and a neatly folded gift receipt, only to be told to come back tomorrow because the item was too freshly gifted. One customer reportedly accepted a $100 store credit, but called the rule the one-day cooling-off period for buyer's regret. The payoff is that stores can legally stall your attempt to fix a bad gift by hiding a waiting period in the fine print. Number 32. The ban on wrapping gifts in newspapers. Some HOAs have a very specific rule prohibiting the use of newspaper or any printed material for wrapping gifts displayed publicly in windows or on porches, citing the risk of fire and unattractive aesthetics. Picture one family using a fun comic section to wrap a gift and receiving a $50 warning because the paper was considered non-conforming material. The rule is a purely cosmetic restriction that ignores the nostalgic and practical value of using newspaper. The bottom line is, your attempt to be clever and resourceful with wrapping paper is a violation of the neighborhood's aesthetic standards. Number 33. The 3-day limit on visitors staying in a single-family home. A bizarre local ordinance in one Midwestern suburb restricts non-resident guests from staying in a single-family home for more than 3 consecutive days, citing traffic and public safety concerns, especially during the busy holiday season. Imagine one family having to move their visiting grandparents to a nearby hotel on the 4th day of Christmas break to avoid a $200 daily fine. The rule effectively limits one of the most fundamental aspects of holiday family togetherness. In other words, the city only allows your family to be together for 72 hours before they become a code violation. Number 34. The rule against leaving a holiday card unsigned. One extremely strange office regulation, reportedly established in one large corporate office, required all internal holiday cards placed in common mail areas to be individually signed by the sender, citing security and professionalism. Let's say one employee receives a verbal warning from their HR manager because they distributed 20 unaddressed and unsigned cards with a pre-printed "Happy Holidays" message. The rule is a bureaucratic overreach that makes a simple gesture of goodwill a mandatory administrative task. Put simply, your holiday greeting is only considered official if it has a legal signature attached. Number 35. The $50 fine for leaving a gift unattended in a public area. Many airport, train station, and mall security policies strictly prohibit leaving any item, including wrapped Christmas gifts, unattended for any period, with fines starting at $50 for the first offense. Envision one shopper placing a small, wrapped box down for 30 seconds to tie their shoe in a mall and immediately being approached by security and issued a citation. The rule is a necessary security measure, but it makes even a fleeting moment of distraction a punishable offense during the holidays. The bottom line is your wrapped Christmas gift is a potential bomb in the eyes of a public area security guard. From here on, every item has one detail you will want to retell. Number 36. The mandatory $2 gift wrapping tax in one Florida city. Every retail transaction that involves gift wrapping, whether by the store or provided by the customer, is subject to a $2 wrapping tax. According to a small Florida city's 2015 ordinance, allegedly targeting high-volume retail during the holidays to fund local park maintenance. One local resident reportedly fought a $4 charge in court, arguing the wrapping was done off-site by a family member and not a retail service. The payoff is that one local government literally taxes your holiday effort. Number 37. The $100 fine for using non-LED holiday lights. A bizarre energy conservation ordinance in one highly sustainable county mandates that all outdoor holiday lighting must be LED or face a $100 fine per violation, citing the extreme power draw of older incandescent bulbs. Picture one homeowner using their old C9 incandescent bulbs for nostalgia and receiving a fine after a code enforcement officer used a telescope to verify the bulb type. The rule is a well-intentioned but extreme overreach into the owner's choice of holiday decor. In plain English, your old-fashioned Christmas lights are a financial liability to the local government. Number 38. The 2 a.m. curfew for all neighborhood parties. Most cities have general noise ordinances, but during the holidays, some neighborhoods strictly enforce a 2 a.m. mandatory end time for all outdoor and indoor gatherings that can be heard outside, citing the need for quiet before Christmas Day or New Year's. Imagine one holiday party being shut down by police at 2:05 a.m., resulting in a $300 fine for the homeowner. The rule is a zero-tolerance approach to holiday noise complaints. Or, less politely, your holiday party has an official closing time set by the police department. Number 39. The 7-foot limit on the height of a snowman. Any snow sculpture over 7 feet must have an approved building permit displayed. One Midwestern City Code of 2017 reportedly states, "The rule is allegedly a safety measure to prevent collapsing structures and obstruction of the street view, similar to a building code for a house." A family with an 8-foot snowman faced a $150 fine in 2023, but avoided it by quickly removing the top 1 foot of the sculpture. The payoff is that even your seasonal ice sculpture needs a government license. Number 40. The ban on using 4-letter words in public holiday cards. A reported rule in one extremely sensitive school district prohibited students from displaying holiday cards containing any 4-letter words, even if the words were not slang or profanity, citing the need to maintain an appropriate environment. Suppose one card is removed from a bulletin board because it used the word deer or snow, which are both 4 letters. The rule is a hyper-vigilant attempt to sanitize holiday messages that completely misses the point. In other words, the administration is so focused on avoiding offense that they have outlawed the word joy, which is 3 letters, but you get the idea. Number 41. The mandatory 10-mile radius for disposing of holiday food waste. A few remote counties with bear populations enforce a special holiday ordinance that requires all leftover food waste from holiday dinners, especially meats, fats, and drippings, to be disposed of at a certified waste facility located at least 10 miles from any residential area. Picture one family on December 26th, loading a black trash bag full of turkey bones and casserole scraps into their trunk, driving past the regular curbside bins marked "No Holiday Food Waste" on the way out of the neighborhood. If they instead drop the bag into their normal can at the end of the driveway, they risk a $100 fine when an inspector spots it on collection day. The rule is a serious attempt to prevent wildlife from entering suburban areas, but it turns simple holiday cleanup into a mini road trip. The bottom line is you have to drive 10 miles just to throw away your Christmas ham bone. Number 42. The no glitter allowed policy in 3 major city venues. Any item or material that disperses glitter is strictly prohibited due to cleanup costs. One stadium management memo allegedly stated for their New Year's Eve event, citing the $3,000 cost to clean up one past incident as the reason. Attendees reportedly had glitter removed from their clothes before entry or faced a $75 cleanup surcharge. The measure is a preemptive strike against one of the messiest holiday materials, but it is an incredibly tedious rule for security staff to enforce. The payoff is the venue will tax your sparkly fun for their convenience. Number 43. The 6-hour maximum for New Year's Eve celebrations in a park. Many city parks that allow public gatherings on New Year's Eve impose a strict 6-hour limit on the duration of any organized celebration, with all activities requiring teardown by 1 a.m. Consider one group having their small gathering shut down at 12:30 a.m. because they started at 6:30 p.m., even though the park is technically open later. The rule is a heavy-handed administrative limit, meant to prevent all-night partying and facilitate cleanup. The bottom line is your New Year's Eve party has a hard stop time set by the city park department. Number 44. The prohibition of personalized confetti at public events. A detailed regulation at many major New Year's Eve celebrations bans any confetti or streamers that contain personalized names, logos, or messages, citing trademark and political advertising restrictions. Imagine one person getting their confetti bag confiscated because it had the name of their small business printed on it. The rule is a bizarre attempt to prevent commercial speech in a public celebration. In plain English, your celebratory confetti is only legal if it is anonymous. Number 45. The $500 fine for excessive cheer. In one downtown entertainment district, the municipal code gives police the power to issue a $500 citation for what it calls excessive cheer during the holiday season. The ordinance defines it loosely as excessive noise, chanting, or public displays of intoxication that disturb the peace, but leaves the final decision to the responding officer. Picture 2 groups on New Year's Eve. 1. Family singing loudly on a street corner and a rowdy group of bar patrons chanting outside a club. If one officer decides the family is spirited and the bar crowd is excessive, only one group walks away with a $500 ticket. If another officer feels differently, the roles reverse. The payoff is that your holiday joy is not just measured in decibels. It is measured by one officer's opinion, and their judgment can cost you half a month's rent. Number 46. The 2 p.m. to 6 a.m. ban on all non-emergency traffic downtown on New Year's Eve. Many major cities impose a sweeping ban on all non-emergency vehicular traffic in the downtown core from 2 p.m. on New Year's Eve until 6 a.m. on New Year's Day, citing public safety and the closure of streets for celebrations. Picture one resident who lives downtown being denied access to their own parking garage at 7 p.m. after visiting family outside the zone. The rule is a drastic measure for crowd control that ignores the basic needs of residents. In other words, you lose the right to drive to your own home on New Year's Eve. Number 47. The rule requiring 72 hours notice before lighting a private New Year's bonfire. In some rural counties prone to wildfires, a special fire ordinance says you cannot just stack wood in a field and light it at midnight. Anyone planning a New Year's bonfire has to file for a permit at least 72 hours in advance, sometimes including a site diagram and a weather check. The rule is a sensible safety measure but incredibly easy to violate if your plans are spontaneous. The bottom line is, your New Year's fire requires a pre-approved permit from the local government. Number 48. The mandatory $500 deposit for a house party of over 15 people. In one city's New Year's Eve ordinance, any private gathering of 15 or more people in a single home must be registered in advance with a social event permit and a $500 safety deposit. If the police are called for any reason, the $500 safety deposit is forfeited immediately, regardless of the outcome. One city's police chief reportedly stated in a 2019 press conference, "Picture a family taping their printed permit to the front window. A bold line on the form showing the $500 deposit already paid, while inside the living room there are exactly 16 relatives passing around snacks. One noise complaint from a neighbor means officers can show up, declare the call, service activity, and keep the deposit even if nothing illegal happened." The payoff is that one local government literally asks you to pay hundreds of dollars up front for the right to throw a New Year's party with your family. Number 49. The 2 a.m. mandatory closing time for all private home garages used for entertaining. A bizarre local ordinance in one suburban area specifically targets garages being used for holiday entertaining, requiring them to be cleared and closed by 2 a.m., even if the main house party is allowed to continue, citing noise and fire hazard concerns. Suppose one homeowner is told by police to force all guests out of their garage at 2:02 a.m. and receives a $300 fine. The rule creates a two-tiered legal system for your own home on New Year's Eve. In other words, your garage has a harder curfew than the rest of your house. Number 50. The $1,000 no re-entry fine on New Year's Eve. If you leave the designated public viewing area after 11 p.m., you cannot come back, and attempting re-entry will result in an immediate $1,000 fine. One city's event policy reportedly stated for their major New Year's countdown. The rule allegedly aims to streamline crowd control and prevent chaos just before midnight, making the zone a one-way trap after 11. One person reportedly received a citation in 2023 after stepping out for a 3-minute phone call and tried to get back in. The payoff is that one simple bathroom break or phone call could cost you $1,000 in 10 seconds. So, there you have it. 50 absurd rules, from the 2-color light limit to the $1,000 no re-entry fine. These are the invisible tripwires of the holiday season. The goal here is not to give you legal advice. Rules vary by city and state, and laws change over time. This video is commentary, not legal counsel. We only scratched the surface of holiday idiocy. Which of these 50 rules shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And to see how the rules change when you only have 20 items, check out the next video in the Holiday Rulebook series.